Hi fellas, Sean back again, briefly in regard to teaching English, part 2. I just forgot to mention a few things in the last video. I wanted to make a few other points. So here's a few pros and cons. Like I said, generally speaking, I think it can be a great experience for young men, especially young men, but also older men, to teach over in Asia for a while, have a few different experiences, and it gives you a different perspective in regard to a lot of things. And you might finally, if you do that, be able to have, you could say, a degree of contentment and a feeling of peace that you haven't had in your life for a very long time, and also a sense of satisfaction. That would probably be the best word to describe it. However, I'd just like to add that health insurance and just insurance in general can be a problem, and it's something that you have to think about whilst you're working and living overseas. Some of the universities, public universities, they provide insurance for their teachers, but often it's not that comprehensive. I used to take out some insurance here in Australia before I used to go to China, and my employer did cover me, but I wanted to have a bit of extra cover on top of that. And you have to think about, if you have any medical conditions, what is the quality of the medical centres and hospitals near where you live? Do you have any underlying conditions that possibly could affect you whilst you're living overseas? That's something that's really important. And I'd also say that you also need to think about what you might do if you have to go back to your home country, whether you will need to find employment. A lot of guys, when they come back to the United States, Canada, UK, Australia, etc., they have trouble finding employment. A lot of guys have to start their own business when they come back home. So this is also something that you need to think about. Although some guys have stayed in like Thailand, China, Vietnam, etc. for like 10, 15 years. Some guys have got married. Their life is basically in that country, so they just end up staying there. But sometimes unexpected events can occur and you have to go back home. So it's a lot better if you already have an apartment or a house in your own country. And if you do have that, you should keep that property as a backup in case you need to come back home and you can't return back to that country where you were living and teaching, working, whatever. So I think it's wise to offer this sort of advice. Just another thing also, obviously, keep out of trouble with the law. Do not commit crimes, because even shoplifting is treated as a very serious offence in some of these countries, and you can get yourself in some deep shit even by doing things which you might think are fairly minor. I worked with an Australian guy, an older guy. He was a bit older than me, and he got caught, busted for drink driving in Nanning, Guangxi province. He wasn't just a bit over the limit, he was really drunk. And he was very lucky. He just got a warning, but he was told by the local PSB, if you get caught again, you'll be deported. You'll have to leave within 10 days and you won't be allowed back in. So it's very lucky for him he didn't get deported the first time. And try to work on the correct visa. Don't overstay your visa. You certainly don't want to end up in like a Thai immigration prison, let alone their main prison. So not just Thailand, many countries, the conditions are quite appalling in these places. So I just wanted to add that. And also in regard to that Canadian guy I spoke about, I didn't go into much detail because I made a video, I think it was in 2023 or 2024, about him. But basically, he got married to a girl who worked with him at the private university where he was, or private school, I can't remember now. But at first, everything was going fine, but then later on, she said to him, "Oh, I think you should get a second job, another job. then you should get a part-time job. We need a bigger apartment. We need a bigger car, a newer car, a more expensive car, this sort of thing. And that's an example of hypergamy getting out of control, and it can happen anywhere. Mostly you hear guys within the red pill MGTOW community talking about hypergamy in the West, but not in regard to other countries. And a lot of women now just think that they have value because they exist. They don't have to offer any value at all. And I think in that latest video by Ohio Dan, that's what he was alluding to when he talked about this idea that everything should be, or it used to be, everything should be 50-50. Many women don't think like this now. It's more like 90-10. That's what I think. So the men are providing high value, a lot of value in many cases, but the women are providing hardly anything in return. So there's no level playing field. The MSM will try to make out that it's all fair and men have got it easy and everything's okay. But there's a lot of gaslighting going on, as you know, and it's not going to change in the future. So that's why I just say to these guys who say, oh, things will get better in time and it'll be better in the future. I just really don't think it will be, even though I try to be optimistic, but I do lean toward the black pill. I've said that many times, and you just have to look at the reality of the situation and what's going on in real life, not some gaslighting nonsense that you hear on social media or on like Channel 7, 9, ABC here in Australia, for example. They're the last types of people who you should listen to, because that's all gynocentric. It's the gynocentric viewpoint that's being pushed all the time. And what is important for men, or what us men might want, is not considered to be relevant or important now these days. So I just think that trying to change things, change the system, it's a red herring, it's a waste of time. And I think, generally speaking, for men, if you want to have a better quality of life, Southeast Asia can be a good option, but it's like swings and roundabouts and pros and cons. There's pitfalls no matter where you live, so you have to consider certain things, obviously. That's about all, fellas. It's a really hot day. It's winter, but it's 25 degrees, so I've actually got the air conditioning on at the moment. Anyway, gents, that's all. I'll talk to you again soon.